talk to you about my first trip to Disneyland, because you're not going to believe when that occurred. So, as long as I've been a Disney fan, most of it has been spent being a fan kind of from the outside. I would watch all the movies. I would buy all the Barbies. I would draw all the things. I'd buy all the like little golden books. I still have all those golden books, but they're the little mini ones, not the big ones. So I did recently buy a doll one. Anyway, we'll do that another time. But my first official to memory trip to Disneyland was shortly after I moved here in 2013. So prior to that, my parents did take my sister and I to Disneyland when we moved from Hawaii to Georgia. My dad was being stationed in Georgia, and we flew into California, and instead of just flying straight to Georgia, we kind of like made a road trip that summer. So we arrived in California, went to Anaheim, went to Disneyland, then made a bunch of stops at different states to hang out with family and stuff like that. I don't fully remember that, and I definitely don't remember my trip to Disneyland, but I have evidence that I was there because I have my first airs that I ever got and a button of like my first visit. I have one of those buttons. It's pretty awesome. So when I moved here, my boyfriend, who he wasn't my boyfriend at the time, but he's my best friend, was crazy obsessed with the fact that I'd never been to Disneyland in my adult years, or even my teenage years, but to be fair, I'm a military brat. Our service members don't actually earn like a ton of money, and we were moving all the time, so we couldn't just splurge to go to Disneyland or splurge to go to Disney World all the time. But I was able to make it to Disney World a lot more often than I was Disneyland ever, because most of the time my dad was stationed on the East Coast, and when my sister started going into travel basketball, they had events at the Wide World of Disney Sports Center, so we would go there. So I love Disney World. But back to Disneyland. So when my partner found out that I had never been to Disneyland in my adult years, he went crazy. He was like, "We have to do it. We have to take you. We're gonna do it." So, him and his friend planned out like this whole Disney route to do in the course of a weekend. So basically, we went Thanksgiving weekend. We had Thanksgiving, and that weekend we flew to Disneyland, and we spent 3 days, I want to say, at the parks, and they had everything planned out for me. They planned when we were going to go to the park, what stops we're going to make first. Like, they had this entire route planned. I never knew that people could be so ridiculously organized with a trip to Disney. Like, it blew my mind, some of the things that they were telling me with regards to like how we're planning things, and I'm like, holy crap, you guys just like went crazy. So I my first experience at Disneyland was fantastic. As much as they planned everything, I didn't have that feeling of having to stick to a strict schedule, right? They made sure that I was so happy and so immersed in everything that was going on around me, and thank you both for that, because it was amazing. They took me to get my first time visit button at City Hall, and I got to wear that proudly. They got me my first pin that was like for my first visit, so that started me down the pin collection trail, because oh my god. But I just loved going to the park, seeing World of Color. Oh my god, I cried so much during World of Color. Fantasmic for me, I was like, I don't really want to see Fantasmic. No offense to Fantasmic. I do think the show is great. But for my first visit, I'm like, you know what, they have Fantasmic down at like Disney World. I want to see World of Color. I want to experience that because I've already experienced Fantasmic. I'm pretty sure it's not that much different than the Disney World Fantasmic. So they made sure that I got to experience World of Color. And that, oof, the emotions that ran through me. Here's a funny story though. So, I don't like roller coasters. I really hate roller coasters. Like a lot. Like, I probably hate roller coasters about as much as I hate cockroaches. And I really hate cockroaches. So, we went to California Adventure super early in the morning. And, I was really tired. You know, because we had gone to Disneyland. And, it was so early in the morning, but we got to stay at the Grand California. So I'm really happy that was kind of my first experience. So got to stay there, so we got early access to, you know, California Adventure, and we beelined it to Toy Story Mania. You know, so we stopped by, got Starbucks, and we went straight to Toy Story Mania. And we got into Toy Story Mania like really fast. I was actually surprised at how quickly we got on. And you know, then we were walking along the boardwalk or on the pier, basically up around to where you would get to like little ice cream shops and stuff near Ariel's Grotto. And on our way, they look at California Screamin'. And they're like, there is no line. The wait time says 5 minutes. We're totally going on this thing. So, I think, I have no idea what you guys are saying right now. Like, in my brain's still so tired, and Toy Story Mania doesn't help at all. That like, thing spins around so much, and there's so many bright things happening. My brain was just like, I'm still trying to wake up, guys. Just let me wake up. Give me some caffeine for my brain. So, they get me to go on California Screamin'. Now, normally I would protest a lot, but I'm tired, and they say it's a ride without a line, and it's still super early in the morning, because it's like not even 9 o'clock, because we got in there early. So, I go, I sit in, and just before it takes off, it registers in my brain, holy crap, I'm on a roller coaster. Then I hear Neil Patrick Harris's voice, and everything else was kind of a blur, because I was screaming, and I was crying, and when we got off the ride at the end, you know, I'm trying to keep my composure because I'm trying not to look like a hot mess to cast members, but my partner and his friend could not stop laughing, and they asked me at the end of it, they're like, you know, are you okay? I'm like, no, I'm not okay. I just went on a roller coaster. I hate roller coasters. I hate you guys. You suck. And they were just laughing. They were laughing because they'd never heard a person scream with such sheer terror as the screams that came out of my mouth. And I'm able to get on California Screamin' now, every now and again. It will not be my first ride that I'm like, you gotta go California Screamin', gotta do it. I will never do that. But if I'm bored, I'll totally hop on. I'm still super frightened of it. I still hate roller coasters. I don't want to go to Six Flags or anything like that, because that's just not gonna happen. But that is probably the one thing I definitely remember from my first trip to Disneyland, was crying and having my partner and his friend laughing at me because I cried with such sheer terror. If I have the picture, I'll probably post a picture at some point of what the snapshot, you know, they take at the end of California Screamin', like the picture that pops up. If I have it, I'm not entirely sure if I do. If I do, I'll place it here. But Disneyland was such a wonderful experience, and I'm happy that my first experience was with two people who made it the best weekend ever. So thank you both. And tell me if you've gotten to experience Disneyland, like what your first experience was like going to the park, you know, start to finish, or if there's just like a moment that you really were just so stoked about, and it's one that lives with you forever, no matter how big or small it may be, because Disneyland is magic, and it's happiness, and it's just all the wonderful things that I wish the world could be a lot of the time. But until next time, bye.